So it is Monday, February 11th, and if we take a look at the MLB The Show 19 developer content schedule, we are expected to get a GameStop Monday video today. If you guys didn't know, MLB The Show does have a partnership with GameStop, and throughout the months leading up to the launch of the game, they will have some sort of promotional videos released through GameStop. And you can always kind of anticipate what these GameStop Monday videos are going to talk about when you look at the actual schedule, because they just reflect on what the developer streams are going to be later in the week. So this GameStop Monday, as you can see, it's on the same week as the stream that's titled Flash the Leather with Overhauled Defensive Intelligence and Gameplay. So the GameStop Monday has been released, and it is all about defense. Side note, there was another GameStop video released with MLB The Show earlier today in the morning, but it was about the MVP edition and like pre-ordering and stuff like that. So it didn't really seem all that exciting, and I, like many others, thought that was the GameStop Monday, but then they released this one less than 20 minutes ago. So this is the true GameStop Monday. I'm gonna let this video play out in its entirety, and then I'm gonna break it down and talk about any features that we can see.
Hi everyone, welcome to MLB The Show Mondays, powered by GameStop. For MLB The Show 19, one of the areas of focus was defensive efficiency, defensive intelligence, and making hitting more fun and rewarding than ever. We have all new fielding AI that makes fielding more realistic than ever. Outfielders' jumps off the bat will now vary more depending upon how good of a fielder they are. There's a new fielding ability indicator under the player's feet. It gives you a quick reminder of how good or bad the fielder is you're controlling. Playing hits off the wall will now be easier or harder to pick up depending upon the ability of the fielder. We've recorded over 1,300 new fielding animations for MLB The Show 19. The motion capture list includes hundreds of new catches, pre-pitch catches in the infield, and animations to help separate players' abilities more. Playing out of position now will result in an increased frequency of fielding miscues. We haven't forgotten about the head-to-head competitive crowd either. There's now a full arsenal of animations that allow you to effectively and efficiently stop base running exploits. To summarize our Flash the Leather improvement suite, fielding ability, reaction time, speed, arm accuracy, and arm strength all play a huge part in field success or failures in MLB The Show 19. Speaking of user skill, it matters more in hitting. We've worked all year on improved hit variety, better swing timing, and you can expect pure contact hitters to be more effective. Make sure you join us next week for another GameStop Monday and pre-order MLB The Show 19 to receive 10 standard packs and 1 gold player choice pack. Pre-order at GameStop and receive their exclusive Gear Up choice pack.
PlayStation.
Alright, so there was a decent amount of stuff to take away from this GameStop Monday, but I'm actually going to go ahead and start it off with the last thing they talked about, which is the hitting, because they only briefly touched about it. A majority of this was focused on defense, and this video is mainly focused on defense, but I just want to acknowledge what they said at the end involving hitting. They didn't give too much, they didn't actually dive too deep into what they meant when they said that contact hitters are going to be more viable. They said there's going to be new hit types, there's going to be better swing timing and stuff like that. We'll just have to wait and see how that all looks in the developer stream on Thursday, but it is nice that they are going right after it saying, yo, contact hitters are actually going to matter this year, because obviously if you played the show 18, you know that the overall meta of the game was to use the guys with the best power. It's just the way the game worked. It was the most efficient way to play the game, and sure, you might have been able to get away with a contact hitter here and there, but for the most part, any player who was considered actually pretty good at the game had their lineup stacked with the best power hitters possible. So hopefully MLB The Show 19 won't have that issue, and these contact hitters will have a place in a lot of people's lineups. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and jump into all the new defensive features that are new in MLB The Show 19. If you guys have been following MLB The Show and the development cycles of the game leading up to each launch, you would know that in MLB The Show 16 there was a very bad issues with fielders not having a ton of urgency in the infield, getting getting the ball to first base and things along those lines. MLB The Show 17 added a new feature in the game called Humanity AI, where the fielders would now recognize the situation. They would recognize who was running from home to first or what the situation in the field was, and they would make a better decision or they would make a better throw based on said situation. And I thought that was a very, very nice addition. It makes fielding a hell of a lot less frustrating when the players in the infield actually react in the ways that you anticipate them to react, and it makes the gameplay experience a whole lot better. MLB The Show 18, they attacked the broken tagging system. If you guys didn't know, tagging before in 16 and 17 was completely broken. The players would not put on the tags appropriately, or they would miss tags. It was just a really, really bad system, and they really attacked that going into MLB The Show 18, and I think the tag system worked so much better. So every year in the infield, they're getting a little bit better. And in the gameplay trailer, they already show that they have made some improvements to tagging again, whereas you can now throw the ball directly to home after you tag a guy coming to second and things along those lines. So that's going to make it even better. But one thing they added this year, if you guys saw in the GameStop Monday, was they actually added the fielder's defensive rating, or the overview of their rating, underneath the player live in the field. So for example, if Ken Griffey Jr. is a diamond level fielder, there will be a diamond under his player as he's roaming the outfield. Or if it's a guy like Frank Thomas from MLB The Show 18, he had common fielding. He was amazing at hitting. He was still a 97 overall, but he had common fielding, so he would have a common badge underneath his player. A lot of people get frustrated when they see a player not make a play that they think they should make, but if you have a visualization of how good or bad your player is at that position, if you can see right there, like, oh, he didn't make this play because he's only a bronze fielder, like maybe if he was a diamond fielder, that play would have been made, it should make a little bit more sense to you, and it should make the ratings stand out a little bit more and have you think a little bit like, maybe I gotta, invest in some more defense over here at third base or center field or wherever the position is. So speaking of center field, speaking of the outfield, let's go ahead and take a look at some things they did to affect the players in the outfield. Now, the first thing I want to mention, there was no indication in this GameStop Monday that anything had been done about outfielders jogging to balls. If you've played MLB The Show 18, you most likely know what I'm talking about. There is a bug in the game where outfielders, for some reason, will just jog to a baseball instead of actually charging it or going to cut it off at a better angle, whatever you want to do. And it causes a ton of frustration, and they actually had a patch come out for that in the middle of the year last year, and it was still in the game. So just right off the rip, I don't know if anything is fixed or changed with that. Maybe they'll talk about that in the stream on Thursday. But what they did talk about is outfielders getting bad or good jumps depending on what their rating is. So once again, we'll use Ken Griffey Jr. for an example because he is a stellar outfield defender. Ken Griffey Jr. is probably not going to get that many bad jumps. He might get one or two, and you never know. But for the most part, if his fielding is way up there in the 90s, he's probably going to be pretty consistently getting good jumps on the baseball. But then a guy that they keep showcasing here in these trailers is Mark Trumbo. Mark Trumbo is not a stellar defender. Mark Trumbo is in the lineup for his bat, and he just tries to get hidden over in left field. Mark Trumbo is probably going to get a lot of bad jumps. He's a defensive liability. He's in there for his bat. You're making the sacrifice in left field for defense just to get that Mark Trumbo pop in the batting order. Now for me, I love this. I love the fact that these defensive stats will matter because yeah, defense mattered this year a little bit, but for the most part, you could still get away with putting a guy like Babe Ruth with 70 fielding in the outfield and not really have that much issue. And even with guys lower than that, you could put guys with 60s in the outfield and they'd still be relatively fine. I'm hoping that this year there is a trade-off between having that big bat in the lineup and then being able to sacrifice that for some lackluster defense in the outfield. They also talked about balls off the wall. Now, balls off the wall have been another little issue in the outfield for MLB The Show. Sometimes the guy doesn't pick up the ball, or it's hard to tell where the ball is going to bounce off the wall, so you can't really anticipate where you're going to throw it. And sometimes that allows the base runner to get an extra base because you don't play the ball off the wall appropriately. And once again, the ratings are going to matter. The higher the defensive rating, it's going to give you a better indicator of where the ball is going to go off the wall. Now, I think this is a great feature because figuring out where the ball is going to go off the wall is is a skill in itself, in my opinion. That should fall under the defensive rating. Ken Griffey Jr. or Mike Trout should be able to tell where a ball is going off the wall better than a guy like Mark Trumbo. But I love the fact that all these defensive changes are really trying to separate the good defenders from the bad ones and make you make that decision on who you're going to start depending on how good or bad their stats are in the outfield. I really like this. And one more thing to touch on, they said that guys who are playing out of position are going to have more defensive mishaps. Now, they've already made some strides towards that leading into MLB The Show 18. You can no longer play anybody you want at first base, and other guys will have some defensive drop-offs depending on the position they play in. So I'm interested to see how much more defensive mishaps these guys will have at these positions. This one I'm going to kind of wait to reserve judgment until I see it in effect in the stream. So guys, a lot of defensive changes coming to MLB The Show 19. There should be a much bigger emphasis on defensive ratings when you're analyzing a player. For me, I like that. All elements of the player should be valuable. It should make an impact in gameplay. Otherwise, why do the ratings even matter? So I'm really excited for all of these changes. But guys, let me know down in the comments what you think. Are you nervous? Are you excited? Do you like what they did? Do you hate it? Let me know your thoughts down there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. I'm covering all the MLB The Show 19 news leading up to the launch of the game. If you're interested in all that, this is the channel. This is the place to be. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.